But I think at the basic level of, he gets us, he loves you, can have so much impact. I mean, it even says in the Bible that love is the greatest of all things. Like, it's
everybody
hope, and then
love.
everybody understands love, and like love changes, it casts out fear. Like it does so much. Like it's patient, it's kind, it's long suffering. Like it has so much quality, and it's like. And everybody really desires to be loved. So if that's the campaign and that's how somebody can literally be interested, I mean, it can be somebody having a bad day and they're watching something and they see that campaign and that may change their life.
No,
and and so although like we may not know all the intentions about it, if it's reaching somebody, if somebody is willing to pray to God for 1 second because of that ad, or open their Bible, or have a conversation about God, are you real? Are you there? Man, like that's just a seed. I think that's really a seed for somebody to be impacted by Jesus. And what an honor. Like that's literally like, that's great. So I think what they're doing is amazing. And I think it's the greatest form of digital evangelism. And
digital evangelism.
Yeah.
Good word.
Right?
Good word.
So it's the greatest form of digital evangelism. So if it's the easiest way to get somebody to recognize, see God, have that seed, planted in such a nonchalant, like every day somebody's watching some type of media. If it's not YouTube, if it's not TikTok, if it's not, TV, Hulu, whatever.
One of the ads has like millions on millions of views. I have to look at the article again, but it was like on YouTube. It's man, dude, and they have multiple different ads, like multiple different things. So like it hits for different things. One was the refugee one is like the activist one. Like it's dope.
And even if somebody maybe thinks it's funny and they still send it, it's still somebody else planting a seed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, look at this
what
ad.
You thought
and
was
then
bad.
Hello,
you used for my good.
Hello. So I think all around there's no harm in it. There's no harm in spreading the love of God, because he does love. He loves all people. And I think the guy, who'd you say, what's his name? Jeff?
Not Jeff.
I don't know. I feel like everybody
Jason,
rich is Jeff. Okay, Jason. He said that so well. I mean, everybody rich is Jeff at this point. But Jason said his explanation so real. And it's like, I mean, of course there are, social issues and there's political issues, but it's really about Jesus. You know what I mean? And if we look to him, he can resolve all things, And the initial thing is not, do I want to be right? But it's like, do you want Jesus? You know what I mean? Like, anybody can have him. God's not saying, oh, just because you're Republican or Democrat or whatever, you're not going to receive me. Nah, like, just, allow him to do what he got to do. So, yeah, I love that. It's not about a side. It's about Jesus.
Yeah, one of the things that I was talking to Blake about this yesterday. He picked me up at the airport. And he was talking about, like, like when you could be so cool with somebody or like, everything is cool, but then like you learn about somebody's like political views and everything, and that totally creates a rift.
Yeah.
And that's and I know a few people at least like this girl who actually was anti-abortion and things of that nature. And like I didn't know at first. I didn't know, but like I was against it at the same time. I liked it. So it was like I wasn't caring as much, but at the same time,
not you
I'm
do
like,
anything to holler at the girl, not
hey,
for the
Riz.
Real.
Hey, listen, we being
for the
real.
Riz.
But listen, this is a high school game. Like it's but it was just an interesting thing. But it's like at the end of the day, I know you're a good person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like friends and stuff like that as well. So it's just like, why would I care as much? Like because at the same time, like I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, I feel like we think that how people were at one point that they're always that way, and I'm not gonna lie, in this society we do see that a lot, but that's where grace comes in, like we have to give others grace, because once you want grace for yourself, and also giving yourself grace to be able to, like, I'm not who I was, I can change my decisions over time. And even if they don't, they're a person at the end of the day. Like everything's so divided nowadays with different things. And they said the people who are divided, like young people and things of that nature, they're attacking this ad and everything. But they're like, you're doing exactly what we want you to do. We want to be on your radar, because we want you to look at these things. Like we're hitting the direct audience.
Come on.
That we want to,
We are the children.
Liana wants to make a
better place.
Let's start living.
Come on.
Shout out MJ.
Love that man.
MJ.
No, that's really good. I think even when it comes to like those type of conversations, I think like Jesus, I think everybody says like Jesus sat with sinners, right? But it's like he was that change, you know, and like he didn't compromise himself, but he was able to be that influence on them, that good influence, and it made them think. And I think once you get somebody to start thinking, hello,
but eventually over time,
I think it's that seed. Like as long as I can get you to think and consider, hey, what would life be like, or why is somebody so devoted, or what is this about? Like, you know what I mean? That curiosity. God's preaching. Like, oh yeah, I can use that. Bet. Like you thinking about me? Let me show you what I could do. Okay.
You know, I mean, that's what and we're about to talk about this, but that's what CTC is for and everything. Yeah, and before we get into that, one of the things that I was always taught growing up, and you guys can see it like just in how I am and everything. Yeah. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But you know, like one of my main things has always been love. Yeah, absolutely. My family and like my church home back home, they always taught me to love one another. Like that was one of the main things that they always did. And although yes, they yelled at us as a little kid because I was also my daycare all the way to 8th grade. Like I spent like basically my whole childhood there. But I was cultivated in a loving environment at all times. When I went home, it was love. Yes, my dad yelled at me, things of that nature. But he loved me at the end of the day. You know, and all that stuff. And I got him around, whatever, you know. But not at the end of the day, I was always taught about love. Loving one another, sometimes turns away wrath. Like, a lot of people would ask me, like, whenever because I used to get bullied and things of that nature in terms of, like, vocal bullying and all that stuff. Yay! You know, but, like, one of the things that always about me is that I don't flame people. Like I say little small things to irritate people in general, but like I'm not coming at you. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I say little things that they're true, or you know that are like just in general. But then I'm like afterwards, I'm like, okay, hey, my bad. You know, I didn't mean that type stuff. You know? Yeah. Whereas it's people like regular flame people, like regular, like regular nigga stuff. You know, I'm just saying.
I have a story about this.
Oh, well, okay, I got you. I got you. But like like I never said it. I never like flamed back because I felt bad to do that in a pressure situation. People talk about my hairline. People talk about the fact that I used to be like really small, but with this, I had this head on a 4-foot body.
It was bad, guys.
So like rightfully so. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'd probably flame me too. You know what I mean? Like especially if I was being a little irritated and I was a little smart ass sometimes. Like a lot of the times. And so like. You know, but at the same time, I didn't deserve it. I'm over that now. But like, I'm saying all that to say, like, I was always cultivated in love. So like, that's when I go out and everywhere, people like me because I show love. You know, like I'm compassionate, and I used to be like, why do you do this? Why do you do that? But it was like 7th, 8th grade. I was like, people are gonna be people at the end of the day. All I can do is just say my things, and I don't have to go sin with you in order to be a part of your life still. You know what I mean? But what are you gonna say? Your story.
When you brought up flaming, so like I said, when I came to Morgan, I didn't understand PG people. They like to flame, right? They like to a lot, right? I didn't understand that. Like I said, I grew up with white people. Okay, so if you were flaming somebody, you actually did not like them. Like you were gonna fight. Like that was how we didn't just joke around like that, you know. And the only people that used to like Joan on me, that's what they used to call it. Joan on me was my family. So I came here, and one of my friends, my friend group, they all from PG, they Joaned on me, and y'all, I was hurt. I was literally like, I had a conversation with them. I was like, I don't think we're good friends. Like, you're not being a good friend to me. Like, you talk about, he's like, Lee, like, I'm actually playing. Like, I didn't know that you were actually hurt. Like, he was hurting my feelings because I didn't know. Like, to me, I thought, you don't like me, bro. Like, you just sitting in my face talking about me. Like, that's crazy. But then we had the conversation. I realized, oh, you're Joni. And then also, I'm not good with the banter back and forth. I'm just gonna take it. Going. They do. They have skill. Sorry, they have skill. So I was gonna. It was just I was just gonna sit there and take it. I was gonna sit there and take it.
That's what I ended up doing because then I'm like, okay, listen, I don't want to fight. I'm a borderline pacifist overall at one point at least. So because I don't like doing all this stuff.
You don't like confrontation.
I'm getting over it. That's why I go to therapy. That's what I went to therapy for this past semester.
I love that. Go ahead and confront.